You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is November 14, 2023 meeting of the Michigan City Board of Zoning Appeals. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, November 14th, 2023 at 6:03, and this is the regular meeting of the Michigan City Board of Zoning Appeals. Ms. Collins, would you call the roll, please? It's what?
Mr. Jackson,
Here.
Mr. Klender,
Here.
Ms. Stransky,
Here.
Ms. Van,
Here.
and Mr. Zimmer.
Here.
So here's your roll call.
Next item is approval of the minutes from October 10th. I assume everybody had a chance to review those. If there are no changes, then I would take a motion to approve.
Move we accept the minutes of the meeting of November 10th,
A second.
October 10th.
Thank you.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Klender,
Yes.
Ms. Stransky,
Yes.
Ms. Van,
Yes.
and Mr. Zimmer.
Yes.
Oh, and I'm sorry, left from roll call was Attorney Steve Hale.
Present. Thank you. So our next item is then to take our first petition. It looks like we have 4 this evening. So who would like to introduce the first one?
We have a petition. It's B-10423. It is 126 Lakeshore Drive. They are requesting a developmental standards variance to reduce the required height for the lower story to be considered a basement. However, the petition emailed us November 9th, 2023 at 6:22 p.m. and stated, we have submitted plans for approval for our home at 1026 Lakeshore Drive. We are certain that we have come to a solution that will not require a variance. We would like to officially withdraw our application for a variance. Thank you for help along the way.
Very good. So is there anything for us to do then? It's just withdrawn, correct? Okay. So moving on to the next petition.
Next we have B-105-23, 950 East US Highway 20. The petitioner is requesting a developmental standards variance to allow their new business sign to be a monument sign.
Mr. Zimmer,
Yes, sir, Mr. Hale.
I know that somebody is here for the petitioner. Perhaps he'd like to come up and introduce himself and say hello. But I need to address the commission about this.
Okay, please do.
Introduce yourself. Go
Good
ahead.
evening, Board. My name is Tom Steinler with Steinler Signs and Graphics out of Wanatah, Indiana.
I'm sorry, members of the board, but it is my opinion that this petition cannot be heard this evening because it hasn't met our notice requirements. There are 2 issues that must be clarified or fixed. First is that one neighbor within the 300 linear feet has not been sent a notice, and that needs to be fixed. And equally important, as of yesterday, I had only a picture of the newspaper notice that would be put in the paper. And all it had was, there would be a hearing on the blank day of blank. And I had no way of determining also if that was put in the newspaper. This evening, Mr. Stindler has given me a copy of the actual newspaper affidavit, but it is faulty in this sense. Although the date of our meeting was corrected, so it was inserted, and so the notice is okay in that sense. It was not timely published in the newspaper for the first one, which must be at least 10 days before tonight, and it didn't meet that deadline. And there was no second one. And our zoning rules require that there be a second notice published in the newspaper at least 3 days before. So the newspaper publication has to be fixed as well. And so I make the recommendation. I'm not sure if the petitioner is interested in asking for a continuance, but certainly this matter needs to be continued into our next regular meeting in December.
Thank you, Mr. Hale. Is that your pleasure?
Yes, that is my pleasure to, I believe, to ask for a continuance. Although I do have a question. If the address is through the state website through Beacon and that is not recorded through the postal service, how do we find that address for that person, even if we Google search and it doesn't come up?
I'll be happy to answer that question after our meeting or any other time. Mr. Stindler can call me up.
Thank you.
Okay, so then I guess we would entertain a motion then to continue this petition to December
At petitioner's request.
at the petitioner's request.
I motion that we continue petition B 105-23 for our next meeting in December on the petitioner's request.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Klinder,
Yes.
Ms. Stransky,
Yes.
Ms. Van,
Yes.
and Mr. Zimmer.
Yes.
Request approved.
Thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Zimmer, from
Yes,
me,
sir. Mr.
just so it's in the record, can we get the exact date of the meeting, please?
It's,
Yes, I would like Mr. Stindler and the public to know that our next regular meeting in December is December 12th, 2023, Tuesday night at 6 p.m. in this same location.
and do we have documentation regarding this petition, or was there none sent? Because I don't seem to have anything regarding it.
We just got Raising Cane.
You should have. I will check with Amanda tomorrow.
I think that worked out for all of us. We have documentation on our next petition we're going to hear and the one just before it, but
Right.
that one we didn't get.
Right.
Okay,
I
well,
think
I will
that
check
is-
in with her to see why you have not
Okay.
gotten.
You got it?
Yeah, I might be privileged.
Evidently. He's special.
Yeah, I just have.
They were all sent out. You got them.
Okay.
So I'll check with her.
Yeah.
I remember looking at it in the email online, but I don't have a hard copy. So,
Yeah, I just have in here, just Raising Cane. That's it. What must be in the email? I only have Raising Cane.
Right. Okay, so then, next item is the Raising Cane's restaurant petition.
We have petition B 106-23, 500 Franklin Street. The petitioner is requesting an increase in signage to increase what is allowed.
Mr. Zimmer.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hale.
Again, I see someone is here on behalf of the petitioner. Perhaps she would like to introduce herself, but I need to address the board before we get into the presentation.
Sure, yeah, please.
Good evening, all. Pleasure seeing you all again.
Speak loudly so that we can hear you.
My name is Sarah Holmes. I'm with Raising Canes. I was here previously in August, and happy to be back to see you all.
If I may, Mr. Zimmer.
Yes.
I want to give the history of this, but again, I believe that we should not proceed to hear this matter this evening based on a failure to meet all of our notice requirements. Yesterday, I received the green cards for 12 out of the 16 neighbors that were identified in the petitioner's petition. Of those, 4 were not signed and not dated. So if you understand what I have a blank green card, meaning I can't verify who got it or when they got it. Today I received, we talked to the petitioner, or Sylvia, I believe, called them, and I received some additional documentation. And of those 4 green cards, I could manage, because now I received the white mailing slip. I could figure out those 4 that they were sent, and the mailing slip or the green card was dated, so I could tell that those 4 were okay. That left the 4 that I never received anything for. So I had no green card yesterday, and I had no white slip. I had no way of telling what they were. But today, thank you to the petitioner, they brought in some additional documentation. Principally, they were the white mailing slips. They were all dated by the post office, and they were all dated appropriately, that is, some time ago, and they met all of our requirements. But there were no names or addresses on it, so I couldn't tell if those were the 4 people that I was missing any information on or not. The petitioner typed on the piece of paper that I was given the name and address of the people who got it, but I couldn't verify that. I also received from the petitioner, and I thank her for her efforts, post office tracking information. So I could identify the post office tracking by the same number that was on the white mailing slip, even though the white mailing slip didn't have a name or an address, it had the same. So I knew that we were talking about that particular green card, blank green card. 2 of those, the post office tracking message was that this had been delivered in one case, I believe it was Houston, some faraway place, and Indianapolis, but no other information, so I couldn't tell if it was the right address or not. That is a little bit of an attempt to try and get this straightened out. The other 2, however, just said that it was en route. And so there was no way of determining for me who got it or when they got it or when it was mailed. And so we're missing 4. 2 of them are, one could argue, you can tell because it went to 2 different cities that it had to be somebody that was at that city. But the other 2 didn't have that information. I do really try to match these up so that I can get the petitioner squared away with notice so that we can proceed. But I can't tell you that I know that 4 of these were sent out to the right 4 people. And so for that reason, I recommend that you not hear this matter, postpone it to the December regular meeting. I know that disappoints the petitioner, but That's my recommendation to you.
Any comments?
Well, this is twice, so I would just like to bring that under consideration. Consideration. We've tried to hear this already twice.
I would like to point out, I took time, that, as I told you, the white mailing slips didn't have any name or address. And we were here for the one that was approved in July. They were all typed up. It's not like they forgot or they didn't know. Here's the proper way to do it. These were done right the last time. That is the previous petition for the drive.
And as well, to stand corrected, this is the first time that we're hearing a developmental standards variance. The last one was not a developmental standards variance, so we couldn't consider this situation the last time. So this is the first time that we're hearing a developmental standards variance on my behalf.
Okay, thanks. So you have the option then to request a continuance till the December meeting.
Yes, please.
That's what you would like to do?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion then to grant the continuance?
I'll make a motion to grant a continuance for our December 12th meeting, correct?
That's
Yes,
correct.
December 12th.
In this location at 6 p.m. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Klinder,
Yes.
Ms. Stransky,
Yes.
Ms. Van,
Yes.
and Mr. Zimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer, before we move on, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Just to clarify this. Mr. Hale, will all the notices have to be resent out, or is it just the 4 that we had problems with? Since we made this in a public meeting, is that a good enough notice for the ones that have already received notice?
It is, and I've said, we've done that before, and I'm glad you brought it up. I simply forgot it. But yes, only the ones that were missed, and I'll be happy to confer with the petitioner and let them know what ones have to be done. But the other ones are good. Everybody is either here, they're watching on TV if they have an interest in this matter, and we just announced that we're going to continue this to the next meeting. So those notices are good, as is the newspaper.
Okay. Could we get confirmation from this office at least one business day beforehand, just to clarify that our noticing is good? Is that possible?
I invite you to call Sylvia, call the planning department and ask. The problem is that we don't always get them in time to make that determination. And in your case, when I saw it yesterday, I notified Sylvia right away, and you were notified because you brought in some additional information. So we'll try and help you as best we can.
It is just for clarity's sake, it is a different person that's made these submittals. So I was traveling here, and when I think the emails and the communication happened, so that's why I asked, is it possible to get like a 1 day in advance? So
We'll do everything we can to make that happen.
Okay.
So the easier way is if you send them out and you have them dated, like say you send them out tomorrow and you get the white slips, send the white slips. We can verify them right then and there. That's really all that we need, but they need it to be in the appropriate manner. So if you
Okay.
give me the white slips, say you send them out tomorrow, you give me the white slips, I'll give them to him and he'll get back to me and let me know, okay, they've been done. But in our petition, we request them to be in at least the day before the meeting, so that they can check them. And most of the time, like I said, if he reviews them, if we review them, then we'll get back with you. If we have issues, because we are waiting for different departments to respond, it is multiple departments. So I don't know when they're responding back to me, and I just have to wait. I'm on their discretion. However, you get them to me as soon as possible, he will definitely review them ahead of time.
Okay. Thank you both.
Okay, so moving on then to our last petition for the evening. This was from the addendum that was sent out Is there somebody here to speak to this petition?
I also received the email from the attorney, Attorney Ambrose, who is petitioning on behalf of the Tisdale. The petition is B-107-23. And they're requesting developmental standards variance to for their setback on their corner lot to go from 20 feet to 5 feet. The attorney, after speaking with our attorney, was requesting to continue this petition until December due to mailing issues as well.
Is that something we need to vote on? To continue it? Okay. So is there a motion to continue this petition?
Make a motion that we continue petition B-107-23 to the December 12th meeting.
Is there a second?
I second.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Klinder,
Yes.
Ms. Stransky,
Yes.
Ms. Vance,
Yes.
and Mr. Zimmer.
Yes.
Continuous approved.
I'd like to just remind everybody, if you could, bring your documentation then for this petition and the Raising Cane's petition to the December meeting. And then if Ms. Martin would coordinate our getting copies of the first trust.
I'm gonna go upstairs and get them now. I'll make you copies before you leave.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem.
So then, is there any old or new business to discuss? Any comments?
There's no old or new business from me.
Any comments from any of the board members?
We're gonna be busy in December.
Yep. Any public comment this evening related to this petition or any others? Any public comment? Public comment is closed. So then I guess our last item is to adjourn for the evening, and I wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.